So, good afternoon, good people. I'm out here with my dog, Sexy. Come here, girl. Come here, girl. Get that out your mouth. What is that? Come here. Come on over here. So, yeah, I'm out here with my dog. Uh, so, I'm thinking about a whole bunch of stuff. I got some family members that's going through some stuff, man, that's going through some medical issues, and I started to think about a bunch of stuff, man. I thought about my dad, man. I remember when my dad got sick, and I was eating fish sandwich. So I remember my dad got sick, and he wasn't married, and he didn't have anybody to take care of outside of his, So my mother was always in love with him, no matter he got married again and divorced and all of that stuff. So when he got very sick, my mom was there to take care of him, until he passed. And then I started to think about another family member that I have. My sister passed away recently, and he was an only kid, and he has a host of medical situations going on. And it made me start to think about just men in general. The thinking from not even the men of the old days, like back in my time, but the men of today. How are we taking care of ourselves? Are we taking care of ourselves to the point where, if we get a little, stagnated or disabled or incapacitated in any way, can we navigate that? Can we help our own selves? Can we advocate for our own selves? And it makes me think about how, and this is not a bash against women. Believe me, it's not, because my mom was a single mom growing up. And, how are we being raised, in terms of being able to handle our business, in terms of being able to take care of ourselves, in terms of to put our ducks in a row. Because not everybody has, is going to be having, family members that want to pick up the slack, or going to have a wife, or going to have a close significant other to help take care of us. Sometimes I think that, the men are being raised to be dependent on the mother, so much so that they don't know how to take care of themselves. And I'm not saying that's a bash against my nephew. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying, though, men in general, it seems that they having an issue with, taking care of their business, being responsible, being independent, and not having to look for somebody else to, do all of these things for them. And that's just discouraging, man, when you think about grown men these days that don't know how to take care of themselves. And you have to look at it, how was people being raised? A lot of times the mama is nothing like a mother's love. Believe me, I know. There's nothing like a mother's love. A mother always wants to make sure that their child is taken care of effectively and efficiently. But I think what that does a lot of times is that it hinders the child. It hinders the child from being taken care of or take care of their own selves. I remember one time my son was about maybe 16 years old, and he had gotten a scholarship with the Barclay Center, and not a scholarship, it's an internship with the Barclay Center. And they wanted to talk to him on the phone, or they wanted to change the schedule or something to that effect, and they wanted him to call in. So he told me about it, and he passes me the phone. I was like, nah, man, that's not my internship. That's your internship, so you need to handle that. So he was looking kind of crazy in the face, like he didn't really know what to say. I said, pick up the phone, you call the people, you tell them who you are and who you want to talk to and why you want to talk to them, and then you handle it from there. He stammered his way through it, but he got through it. And then the next important phone call that he made, he came to me the same way, and I did him the same way I did him, because you got to know how to talk to people, and especially these times, these days, The kids are so much on these phones and on the computer that they have no real social skills. They don't really know how to talk to people. You get somebody face to face, and these kids are like dumbfounded. They don't really know how to talk to people. And it's an issue, especially when it comes to their own personal business, because mommy and daddy ain't always going to be here. Mommy and daddy is not always going to be here, and they're going to be able to need to take care of their own selves. And I think that we should spend more time letting these kids be independent. We don't want to see them, because a lot of times people are, and the kids these days, their parents are my age, right? And, some of the parents, who may have grown up like me, not all, but some have, maybe were a little disadvantaged, and struggled a bit. And, the parents don't want their children to struggle like they struggle. And I get that, because I didn't want mine to struggle that way either. But I was determined that he be independent. So sometimes we got to let them bump their head. Sometimes we got to let them, bump their head a little bit in order to learn how to become durable, how to become independent, how to become self-sufficient. Because if we don't do that, we have a bunch of people who just don't know how to take care of themselves, who don't know how to put their affairs in order. Not necessarily their last affairs. I'm just talking about affairs, period. It's important that, we teach our men, these kids, these boys, how to have social skills, how to be independent, how to take care of yourself. And, I said it before, and I think I got some bad reviews, so to speak, or some bad responses about me saying that, it's unfortunate. Fortunate for me, but unfortunate I have to say this, that prison, unfortunately, has been one of the most valuable experiences I've ever had in my life. And I know that shit sounds crazy, but it's the truth, because, I learned people skills. I learned communication skills. I learned how to read body language. I learned how to be independent. I learned hygiene. I learned a whole bunch of stuff that I can't say that I necessarily would have learned that had I not been there. And it's unfortunate to say that, but that's the truth. But I think that that's where you should learn it. You should learn it at home. You should learn it from your parents. You should learn it, from your environment. How to be independent, how to be self-sufficient. The communication skills. We should be able to learn how to be able to talk to people, how to learn how to be able to get on this phone and take care of our business without having to have somebody stand over our shoulder telling us what to say, or passing the phone to somebody else and say, "Hey, you take care of this for me." It's unfortunate that we have to do that. But, all of this shit today, man, makes me think about that, man. As I said, I have some family members who are not as, able, and I think about, maybe, the moms has raised them that way, to be so dependent. Not that they're intentionally doing this, I'm not saying that, but, the moms are so loving and caring of their child that they tend to, take care of them so much that it actually hinders them. My son is 21 years old, and he's in, Atlantic City. He has a job. He's a manager. He's doing his thing. And I'm not boasting on my child, but what I'm saying is that, I taught him how to be independent. I taught him how to, take care of himself in the event that I'm not there, because I'm not going to be here forever. And you got to know how to handle your business. You can't move in with some woman. Is that Bowser? Bowser, CJ, hello, how are you? You can't, move in with some woman or rely on some woman. Come here, man. And expect them to take care of you. You can't do that. You got to be able to take care of your own business and take care of your woman. It's you who is supposed to be taking care of your woman, not your woman taking care of you. So I just want to be able to get on here and say that, because look at her, scary self. You acting like you ain't scary now, but you in that house, you hear a siren. Come here. Come here. Yeah, so, I just wanted to share that today, man. I mean, because it's important that, we really help our children, man, help our kids to be independent. And it's not only men. It's just saddening for me to see men that way who don't really know how to be independent, or who don't know how to take care of their business. But they're female children, young children, 20, 21, 22, up to 30, and probably beyond that, who, don't really take care of themselves, or who is not as independent as they should be. That, little simple things about handling your business, especially when it comes to finances, or when it comes to housing, or when it comes to medical, or when it comes to employment, you're supposed to know how to take care of that. And I think that we should take better care of our children and, show them how to do that. Show them how to be independent. Because we don't want somebody else to take care of our families. I mean, I thought about when my dad got sick. I mentioned that earlier. When my dad got sick and him not having a wife, all of his brothers and sisters, his mom and dad, had passed away already. So he was just him. And his children. We were there the best that we can, but, in order to get that loving and caring kind of taken care of, you want to have somebody by your side in your corner who is there for you. And like I said, my mom was so in love with him that, she was there like no matter what. But not everybody is that lucky. And that whole ordeal made me think about me, like, damn, Raheem, I mean, you better get married. You better get married, man, or you gotta, even though I'm able to take care of myself independently, when you become sick, man, you gotta look for people who, you gotta have some people, not look for. You gotta have some people in your life who cares about you enough to take care of you, man, or help you take care of you, So I just wanted to, I had that shit on my mind. I'm just thinking about, all the things that are going on, and how, these kids today, or young people today, aren't as independent as they should be. I think they should get that shit from home. They should get it from home. Their parents should not love their children into a deficit. They should not love their children so much so where they become totally dependent on them. And then when it's time for them to go off on their own, they are ill-prepared. They're ill-prepared to go out on their own because they don't have any experience with handling any kind of business on their own. So we need to be mindful of that, man. We should be mindful of that and make sure that we taking care of our kids the way that they should be taken care of. All right. So that's enough of my ranting for the day. I just wanted to hit you guys up and say that, if there's anybody who has some, especially young men, that shit pains me. It pains me to see that, anybody beyond 21 years old who don't know how to get on the phone and say, hey, this is what's going on and I need this. Help me with that. That's a fucking problem. Excuse my language. I'm sorry about that. But that's a problem. That's a problem when we have no social skills enough to get on the phone and say, hey, this is what's going on with me. This is what I need, just to advocate for our own self. So, again, like I said, that's all for my ranting for today. Let me give you one more shot at my sexy. Look at her. Look at her. What's going on, girl? What's going on, sexy? You gonna say hello? You gonna say hello? All right, good people. Stay grinding. Stay focused.